Endurance conducted a survey designed to identify and understand the barriers minority athletes, including people of color, Black, LGBTQ plus, and disabled face when considering participation in endurance sports. Family obligation is a key barrier to entering endurance sports, which is found in the Gatorade Endurance Survey. This was driven by caring for family members, for children, providing transportation for family, being the sole provider for the family, and working multiple jobs for family stability. Carolyn, I got to ask you, have there been any family obligations that got in the way of participating in endurance sports?
Oh, for sure. I think when it comes to endurance sports, there is a huge cultural component that really shapes the context that you even see sports in. And so for myself as an Asian American or Chinese American, more specifically, my parents were immigrants and they came over for grad school. They established a life and for themselves, but they worked almost all the time. I was the caretaker for my grandmother, my grandparents who lived with us all throughout, from elementary school through high school. And so when we think about sports and getting involved with that, there really is no place value for it when your priority at a young age already is to care for the family. And if the family's priorities are to take care of each other in order to establish, a stable and secure life. On top of that, I think, going back to that, that really impacts, the likelihood, I think, of first generation minority Americans getting into endurance sports. But on top of that, I think culturally speaking, there are also a lot of gender norms and roles that are placed upon specifically, women in many Taiwanese and Chinese cultures. Women should not be so physically active because it can be very damaging to our health, especially if you want to talk about starting a family. And also there are a lot of cultural norms that dictate that women should be at home, taking care of the children, raising the children, supporting the spouse, and any time spent outside of that is considered kind of selfish or just pretty selfish or self-centered, and because you should be prioritizing your family first.
It takes a village to raise a child, but it takes a village to train an endurance athlete. Right,
yes.
Because you need someone to support. Chris, how have you balanced family obligations and time and training with your respective sport?
For me, I think it's been about those priorities and about scheduling. So even if there's a race that I really want to do, if it's grandma's 85th birthday, we're going to grandma's house. and so there are sometimes those sacrifices that we have to make in terms of our long runs or in terms of training or events that family comes first, and it's just about prioritization. Sometimes it doesn't feel great. Sometimes we are upset about it, but it's really about, at the end of the day, what is the priority for you at that time.
Kira, do you have any of your family members ever help you go to some of your events, or how have they been a support to you?
Yes, I think first I really resonate with both of the things that were just said. I think in terms of being, a Black woman whose parents are from Caribbean descent, I've watched my parents work tirelessly to give me the best opportunity they can. And so I feel I owe it to them to ensure that, I'm as focused as possible with my time. And sometimes that means that things that might serve me uniquely in terms of endurance sports have to wait. So I got involved a little bit later in life. I think, really resonating with some of those reasons that Carolyn said. I think in terms of what Chris mentioned as well, my family suffered an incredible loss this year and obligations immediately changed. So I really had to take a look at what's important, and people and relationships, to Chris's point, are really important, and you can't get that time back.
Kionte, I'm sure you celebrated many different times. How has your family supported you in your own endeavors?
My family has, they've been to my races, kind of going off what Kira said. My family actually took a loss this past, 6 or so months ago. I lost my mom, and who was, the person who I always told about all my events and what's going on. to where, you know, after the fact, when that all happened, I kind of just stopped training. So yeah, you know, it's very, it affected my mental health, not training and getting, you know, and not being active. So now I'm kind of getting back into being active and realizing and allowing myself to heal from all that. But having that person, when you cross that finish line, seeing your mom, seeing your family member, seeing the person that you care about, whether it be friends or family members or whoever that person may be into your life, just having them there crossing the finish line and be like, yeah, you know, like you worked so hard at this, you know, seeing you at that moment, it's always nice to be able to share that experience with someone.
That one hug at the very end makes the distance, the grit, and the grind all worth it. And even if they're not there, they're still with you in spirit. And so I appreciate everybody's sort of openness, because family is really important. So I want to say thank you for joining us today, and tune in to GatoradeEndurance.com/community or on Instagram at Gatorade Endurance to see other barriers that athletes face and tips for how to overcome.